Hi. Let's check our email. Dear Dunn's Jelly, that's us. I'm writing to you from the intensive care unit at St. Joseph's Medical. Whoa. I was trying to paint in the Zorn palette and ended up here in a coma with an aneurysm. Please help. Wow. Good thing you emailed me about this. The Zorn palette will do that to you. It's crazy. And if you're new to it, the Zorn palette will kind of break everything you think you know about color. So it makes sense that you might end up with an aneurysm. But let me show you how to do it right. Get well soon. So basically the Zorn palette, have you ever heard of it before? Have you ever heard of the Zorn palette? It's crazy. So the Zorn palette, they call it that because it's named after Anders Zorn, who was a portrait artist 150 years ago. And the palette that he would use a lot of the time for portraits was simple black, white, red, and yellow ochre. And that's it. Just these four. And from these four, he was able to mix a complete gamut. A complete usable palette full of colors, but that are derived only from these four tubes. Isn't that nuts? This is why people end up in the hospital. All right, well, we have some white. We have some black. Here's the yellow ochre. And then this is a brilliant red. I think he used a vermilion, but close enough. All right, here we go. This is it. So we can mix the black and the white together into a little spectrum here. And so that gives us a range of values, and that's nice, right? And then we can make a little bridge between the red and the yellow, and that is a little spectrum that passes through orange. So red through orange and into yellow. So there's no blue and there's no green, and there are no cold colors at all in this. So what happens perceptively is that your eye will just start to accept gray as blue. Not because it's literally blue, but because it has less red in it. Your eye is comparing that contrast of hue between the red and the gray. And relative to the red, the gray is much colder. So that it's a perceived blue, or a Zorn blue. Crazy. Can you believe that? I can't. Think about it. All right, so we just have to call this blue now. We have to let go of the conventional language of color as we think about it. They're all very relative. All right, what was I doing? All right, so now if we treat the gray as a blue, let's make a little color wheel here. But if we treat that gray as a blue, then mixing it with the red should make a purple. And look at that. It does look like purple. Also, this blue and yellow should now make something that we perceive as green. And that's it. See, it's kind of green. I buy that. I buy it being green. It looks green to me. And so on. So that gives us a complete color wheel. Let's look at what our gamut truly is. Here's our color wheel of the world. We are using a bright red, somewhere up here. We're using a yellow ochre, which is sort of a muted yellow about here. And then we're using neutral, which is about here. So this tiny sliver is our gamut. You can think of the gamut, the gamut mask is this little triangle. It's like a little fence that contains all of your color palette. And we can only use the colors that are inside that fence. So now when we go to paint in this, I'll start with our average warm color here. And remember that the blue isn't really there. The blue is just in your mind. I'm going to paint the entire border around this thing red, and that will further punctuate the difference between the warm and the cool. It's so crazy how that works. God, it just blows my mind. I never get used to this. Doesn't this blow your mind? Look at this.